Hey folks, it's day 12, 10th of September, about 2:16 p.m. And I did make a video earlier, but I don't feel like uploading that one. I went ahead and deleted it. It was kind of depressive, and the fact is, like, I've been going through these sorts of bouts of, like, you could say, like, having regrets, like I've talked about in other videos, more recent ones, and I've also been dealing with sort of like questioning my morals, if you will. Because like, for instance, I'll say, like, I'm waiting till marriage, and it's easy to say that, or I should say, it's easier to say that when you're like 19 or 20, and you think, well, my parents are married by the time they're in their mid 20s. It's just a few years. Waiting until marriage isn't that big of a thing. Like, why not wait? It's just a few years. I'll be out of school, and I'll be, everything's gonna work out and all that, and um. given that things are the way they are these days, it's like you get to 30, going on 31. I'll be 31 in a little over a week from now, and maybe you start to have your doubts, and you toss in that with like PMO, and it's just kind of this whole toxic mixture, especially when I have this girlfriend and things have been going relatively well. Relatively well. We've had our rough patches. We did, you could say, break up for a bit there, and then we got back together and we worked things out. But um, it's kind of like it's easier when it's just like her and myself. But if another girl comes into the picture and there's like temptation there, then you can start questioning your morality and that sort of deal because the male biological imperative is there, and you know what I'm talking about, the whole desire to kind of like sow your wild oats, that sort of deal. And I never did that in my 20s, so um, but I was going through this whole period of questioning that and just kind of having these regrets and like feeling like, oh, what if I'd done this? What if I'd done that? But you know, every time I go through that, I kind of come back to where I'm at right now, and it's kind of like if I'm able to avoid or minimize the stimuli that lead to that kind of reaction, I'm able to get through my day and get things done. But um, one big thing that I did recently, which I felt that I had to do that, but I have a couple friends who I kind of like reconnected with after last fall and even like this last semester, and um, I really started to come to terms with some things that happened, things that I did because after I failed a couple of those classes and basically got put behind by another year, I went through this whole phase of burning bridges, unfriending people, cutting people out of my life, isolating myself because I felt like such a complete and utter failure for failing those classes and getting put behind by a year. And I felt that all these people had moved on to the senior year, and there I am having to repeat junior year and being on probation and dealing with financial aid issues and just all of these sorts of things just kind of start piling up and making me feel like it's kind of like I was in that dominance hierarchy and I'd gone up a level, but then I was being dragged down one, two, all these levels, and I cut some people out. Some folks, when I tried to reconnect with them, they obviously didn't want to reconnect, and it's their prerogative. I mean, they had their right, and perhaps from their perspective, they had their right to do that. I can't blame them, but other folks, wanted to, and they were cool with it, and I think they understood, especially these two guys. But I basically admitted to them, what I had done and why I was, why things were like that, and because I was sitting there, like thinking back, and you can even see in some of my more recent videos where I'm just kind of like having regrets, maybe I should have been more in control of my emotions. Maybe I should have been more aware. Of course, that was really before I got into this whole Nofap deal. I got into that longest streak, and um, beyond that, I mean, like, I've in a sense been doing Nofap for a while, but I really didn't like dig deep the way I started digging deep, and it wasn't until uh, about 2.5 months in, I think it was, that I really like hit some sort of major like breakthrough which just totally shifted my whole understanding of Nofap from, oh, I'm just dealing with anxiety or stress or depression or urges or whatever, to like going like, okay, why is it that I have all these feelings that caused me to want to relapse? What's really going on here? And when I came across Off the Train's content and started getting into like, okay, what are my underlying issues? I feel like if I'd done that a year beforehand, it's kind of like that whole question of like, where would I be now? But it almost seems like I had to fill those classes. I had to end up on probation again. Um, and as a result, I was forced to kind of question. Um, I'm talking to my girlfriend a bit, but sorry. um, but when that happened, that's when I was forced to question it, because I've been on probation in the past, like one other school before that, and it was a completely different situation. Insofar as it's just like I was in an NRTC program, I was under all that sort of stress and anxiety, and having like my time divided up so much, and all, et cetera, et cetera. And so I was forced to ask myself the question: okay, I'm not in a situation like that. Why is this stuff still happening? What are these big issues I'm having? And so in a sense, it was kind of necessary for it to happen, and sort of the bigger scheme of things. But I definitely know how it happened, how it affected me, and I think the thing that hit me the most instead of cutting people out um, was with that girl, you know, and I've discussed why. It was kind of a mixed up, muddled up situation. Obviously, there were some romantic leanings or feelings on both sides for a time there. Um, but I think once I started really finding out about her and her past and her views on things, that's when I kind of changed more towards like the whole, oh, I want to be the strong male role model, that sort of a deal. And then that's when I kind of realized, like, I can't really do that. That's not the thing to do, and I've got to make my peace with that. And I think that's where I'm at right now, because it's like, okay, I have the girlfriend already. She's the girlfriend. I shouldn't be having like myself split. It's like you can't serve two masters. You can't, you can't do that. So that's what I've been struggling with lately, and I'm slowly processing it, slowly getting through it, and it kind of comes and goes in waves. But admitting that to those guys, like, really like took a huge weight off my shoulders, because it's kind of like when I make these videos. So much of it is just getting stuff off my chest, getting things off my shoulders, off my mind, because if I just hold it and keep on mulling over it, and definitely not getting feedback from non-judgmental sources, it's like the problems are gonna just continue on and on again, and I'll be in a holding pattern, and I'll still get the same results, and I'll be sitting there wondering at 40 or 50, like, why am I still like this? Why is this stuff still happening? Why do things get worse and not better? And in order to not have that happen, I have to go through these uncomfortable moments, uncomfortable situations, and I have to really try to contend with underlying issues and really figure out what they are and then resolve them. And other than my immediate actions and my immediate emotional state and so on, I think all that sort of stuff has derived from limiting beliefs and views I've had on different things. Like, some of this is from past experiences. I can't really blame myself, but um, like, for instance, with the girl, for instance, with that situation, I assumed that with all women, or at least the vast majority of them, such that I would never meet someone who's different than that um, they would only be interested in you, even if it was just as a friend, only as long as your star was rising. And if there came a moment where you start faltering and perhaps even falling down, they're gone. And for some odd reason, this girl still was interested in me. She still liked me, she still was attracted to me, and my big regret is pushing her away. Not necessarily because I was going to dive into bed with her. I mean, I'm not saying that I wasn't tempted. She's from the same country and background as my girlfriend, so you can see, like, okay, obviously there was some sort of like, hey, you remind me of my girlfriend, I'm attracted to my girlfriend, therefore, by extension, I'm attracted to you to a certain extent. There's obviously some of that there, but um, I do regret pushing her away, and I did that because of my beliefs that, like, I kind of looked at it and I was like, why are you talking to me? I'm a loser. I'm an utter failure. I've been put behind by a year. Even if the thing with my current girlfriend doesn't work out for some reason, I don't end up getting married to her, and I'm um, but I thought that, like, even if things didn't work out with the current girlfriend for whatever reason, we didn't end up getting married, and I was single again. Even in a situation like that, like, and the girl knew that I was single and things that I would think, and I would assume that she wouldn't be interested in me. Like, she must have passed all those classes, and she's moving on to senior year, and she's gonna be, you know, um, she's gonna have graduated and be looking for some stable man who has his degree and a job and all that kind of stuff. And why would she be interested in a guy like me? It's like I wouldn't have a degree at that point. There'd be no guarantee that I'd be able to become the protector provider type. And again, limiting beliefs beyond just the kind of figuring that a girl would only value me based on that. I've figured myself to be a beta male. That just being honest about it. I figured myself to be a beta male who could only really win a girl over by being the protected provider type. I can never be the cool, hip, hot guy, that they'd be chasing after. And I have had moments and times where that's been the case. And, outside of my morals and my ethics, not wanting to, like, be the player, I think in a real deep sense, I have not known how fundamentally to process those kinds of experiences. And it just kind of seemed like weird and unreal to me, like, I'm a beta male. Why are you treating me like I'm alpha? To use the terminology. Like, what about me is so hot? Like, I'm not that kind of a guy. Like, I'm the nerdy, geeky, dweeby, dorky guy who is way into science fiction and fantasy and science and engineering and math and that sort of stuff. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not the tall, dark, handsome, leather wearing, motorcycle riding bad boy. I'm fundamentally the beta male. I'm the backup guy. Like, I'm the guy you go to when you need a husband who makes a decent income and that sort of deal. And then I'll save you from whatever sort of a situation that you're in, whether that's being lonely or because the alpha male dumped you and ran off with another woman or whatever. And I wish I had come to terms with this stuff like 5 to 10 years ago and I'd really understood this sort of stuff, but better late than never. So that's another limiting belief I've had. For one thing, thinking that you lose that status, the girls are not going to be interested in you because you have nothing else to offer. Number two, thinking of myself as a beta male who's only real way of attracting a woman is through, hey, look at my stable job and the house I have and the car I drive and the goodies I can give you, um, as opposed to having intrinsic value in and of myself. And I can trace those things back now that I look at it to so many ways my upbringing. Um, just being made to feel like an idiot, to feel like a loser, to feel like someone who had to, be taken by the hand and guided through everything in life, and just feeling emasculated. But it's like now that I have this knowledge, now that I have this understanding, it's like I gotta do something with it. And the really messed up thing is it always feels like it's too little too late. Too little too late. But I'm still alive, and as long as I have that, maybe it's not too late. Hmm. And what's funny? I don't think I'd ever want to be an alpha. I wouldn't want to be an alpha. I don't want to be a beta. I would want to be outside the hierarchy. But that's a big, big task right there. And every day now just seems to be kind of hard. I mean, I got some homework to finish up on, so I'll get into that. But yeah, so that's what I've been dealing with, and I started just talking to the girlfriend. She sent me messages on Facebook, and we've been discussing stuff like, and it's like I think I'm right now. I'm also happening on another limiting belief, because as much as my logic is dictated that I should find a good woman to marry, not someone who's like one of those AFBB types, who messes around with the quote unquote bad boys and then wants a good guy later on. But, a girl who, you know, has been marriage material from the get go. As much as my logic tells me that kind of thing, it's like there's that part of me, and it's kind of like how you have. It's kind of like it's kind of like the whole AFBB thing. Use that acronym. Us beta males basically, and even some alpha males. When they realize they've been basically being used for sex, complaining about that whole process where the girls they have have relations with bad boys when they're younger, and then when they get older, they get the stable, you know, um, income earning beta male for the husband. It's like complaining about that. It's like you see these girls chasing after the bad boys, but what about the guys chasing after the bad girls? I fall in that category, and I find that at a visceral emotional level that I'm like that, and And you know, I wonder where it comes from. Some of it probably is inherited, or the way I was raised. The whole like treat women with respect. You wait till marriage, have emotional intimacy. You know, before physical intimacy, and like my dad and my mom. My dad knowing that my mother was verbally and emotionally, and even sometimes physically abused growing up. And one of the things that he said, like to my to-be grandmother, when she was actually trying to convince him not to marry my mother, was that no, she needs me, And it's that kind of like mentality of like, the good guy goes for the bad girl because he thinks he's gonna save her, and that sort of thing, or the good girl going for the bad guy, thinking, oh, she's gonna save him from himself, and you know, help him become a better person, and that sort of deal. And it's like my logic and my emotional, side, they're at war with each other. Like my girlfriend's gorgeous, and she's a great person. She's a good woman. And like I know that, and I have those moments where like when I was in Morocco and I was with her, and I was truly happy, and it felt right. Especially when we kissed, it felt right. But it's like I come back here, and it's kind of almost like this reset, and I have to undo that process, undo that mechanism. Because like I said, logic dictates one thing, emotions dictate the other, and it's like it's very easy to go with your emotions and your feelings in the moment, and then end up messing up your life. So that's another limiting belief. Feeling like that fundamentally, it's like I don't deserve a good woman, even though logically I know I want a good woman for relationship, for marriage, for to be the mother of my kids. To kind of use Briffault's law um, to my advantage, or to not just to my advantage, but and it's kind of strange for a man to be thinking about this in a sense from a biological perspective, but not just from my to my advantage, but to the advantage of my future kids. So set of limiting beliefs, and before that some updates and some things that I've done to try and resolve issues I've had in reconnecting with people and maybe rebuilding some bridges. So anywho, um, I think let's see on Nofap we could definitely be um, and even not just in Nofap. This is like life in general. I've gone to the point where I feel like in general we should be examining our beliefs and really asking ourselves the questions if are these beliefs really true? Are they based in reality, or are we just putting up roadblocks in our ways in life, and stopping ourselves from succeeding, and then turning around and later on saying, well, it was going to be like that. That's how it was going to be. It was meant to be that way when it could have been better, except that we stopped ourselves. So, anywho, hope this was a far more positive video than my last few ones. It's Sunday, and I've had a few days away from the, you could say, the source of bad feelings, so I've been able to process things better. The caffeine is definitely wearing off from the coffee I had earlier, and that was kind of amplifying my anxiety and other negative feelings, which, it's like any stimulant. You have your, rising period, then your crashing period, and yeah, so anywho, thanks for watching my content. Thanks for the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, and trying to make this as helpful as I can, not just to myself but to others. So, anywho, gonna upload this after I get done here, and Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention was that in response to one of Alex's comments, he's talking about like doing Google Hangouts or something like that. I do need some sort of webcam, or like I need to get like a smartphone that actually works, because I turned mine into a brick by dropping it in the toilet like last semester, listening to a lecture on demonology because I was just interested in that sort of stuff. But if I can get that, then I'll be able to do live streams on YouTube, and that'll definitely be fun. Getting to actually talking to people, live. So yeah. Anywho, that's it for now. I'll see you folks around. Bye.